What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Dead Air, the show about absolutely nothing and exactly how it should be. CP, what is up?
What's going on? It's 2020, so
something's going on.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah, hurry up. Where's January when you need it?
Yeah, exactly. We got like 5 fucking hurricanes on the way to the East Coast, all this other shit. It's like I saw a little cartoon thing of 2020, and it was like all this crazy shit, and then it was like pandemic, and then they're murder hornets. All year was just like a fucking cursed Rubik's Cube of crazy shit. All right, guys. So, yeah, this was an idea that we've had for a while. Just me and CP hanging out, talking about bullshit. There's not really going to be a set theme. Today, we're going to open up talking about this PS5 madness, but where it goes from there, anybody's fucking guess. So we're just going to hang out and bullshit with everybody. So strap in. I don't know where we're heading. PS5. I don't know where you stand on the whole PS5, Xbox, what the fuck is it? Xbox One Series X5 Data 2.0, whatever the hell they're calling it. I've never been somebody to buy a system right at launch. I usually get it within the first couple of weeks, something like that, or by Black Friday by the time they're doing bundles and stuff. But holy Christ, is it always this insane whenever we do pre-orders on a launch?
Yeah, I've been. This might be the first time I won't be able to at launch, but I've been doing launches since PS2. Yeah. And I remember, this is pre-internet. Well, not internet, but the stores weren't so active. You had to wait in a line outside Best Buy and just hope you had the right ticket number and all that stuff. Yeah, it gets hectic. And what's so funny is, actually, no, that's wrong. I had a Nintendo 64 on launch day back when they had 2 games with that fucking system.
Pokemon Snap and
it was Pilot Wings and Mario. That's it. Fuck
you. Man, like it's funny because I remember when PS4, that was the closest system that I got to launch. That was launch came. I was in the middle of changing jobs. I didn't want to spend a lot of money. I had just moved out on my own like a month prior to that, after having to move back home for a little while. So bills were piling up, credit cards were getting maxed out and shit like that, trying to just get shit to survive.
Sure.
Once I got out of that hole, I got it later on that month. And even that was a pretty crazy, like you had to check the inventory on a site and it's like, oh shit, it's there. Hurry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the past 2 days, man, has been like a shit show.
Well, that's part of it too. Like, sometimes they're like impossible to find, and then like the scalpers go crazy on Christmas.
Yeah,
so
$2,000 for one on eBay.
Yeah, so I forgot what system it was where that happened, but ever since then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get it on launch just to avoid that. And then I got a little arrogant when both the PS4 and Xbox One came out, and I think I bought 3 of each, thinking, haha, I'm going to show them, but there was plenty of them. So I just had spares. Like, you guys want an Xbox?
Come on over and you get a little goodie bag with a fucking PS4 in it. Oh man. Yeah. It's, it was supposed to go live today was the pre-orders. I think yesterday at some point it was, or was it? No, it was supposed to go live yesterday. Wednesday, they had their little price announcement. And then if I get the story right, Walmart was like, fuck it, we're going. And they just put the shit up. And then Best Buy was like, bitch, you ain't about to out PS5 me. And then just put their shit up. And then it was like Target, Amazon. And that bitch was gone like that. I mean, it was to the point where like on Best Buy, I got fucked over because I was editing my Ratchet review. And I was sitting there trying to do that. And just before I had started editing, I had went to Best Buy to see if they had the options open. And it was just like, hey, sign up and we'll notify you when they go live. So I put my shit in, and then I started editing my video, which was like an hour and a half or so. And then I go to post it on Facebook. And as soon as I posted, it drops. And the post below that was somebody, they were like, got that PS5. And I was like, what the fuck? And I went tried to scramble. And I get to Best Buy. They still have the option, but it was doing this shit where you add it to your cart, you go to checkout, and then your cart empties. And you're like, fuck. And you go back and you add it to your cart. and then you go to check out, and then it lets you pick what store, and then your cart empties. And it was like this game of trying to get the steps through. I'm guessing everybody was adding it to their cart, and then whenever it would be out of stock because of all the shit that was swamped, it would delete. And then whenever people's credit would fucking bounce, or they would get an error or whatever, then they would come back in. But it was like 20 minutes of me fighting with that until it finally said out of stock. And the internet immediately was like, yeah, they're gone. It's done.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I had lucked out yesterday because I had put out a little thing on Facebook because I did not realize Amazon had went live yet. I thought that they were still waiting. And so I had put out a little thing on Facebook. It was like, hey guys, anybody sees these things go live on any of these retailers, let me know because I'm at work. And I was still like kind of like every 15 minutes would at least like refresh a page. Okay, it still says out. And then I put my phone down and go back to work. And I had somebody, Sam's Club went live at one point, and then I missed that because that was over in 5 minutes. And it was the same thing. You add it to your cart and then it would empty. And then I got lucky because Walmart had put out a thing saying, hey, at this time at 9 p.m., we're doing pre-orders. And so I had got like a 10-minute notice from one of my subscribers. And then Cecil had messaged me like 3 minutes after that. And so I was sitting there like a fucking commando ready to go into battle with my phone and my computer, both at walmart.com. As soon as it went live, I hit refresh and refresh and refresh. And then it finally popped up, add to cart. And even by the time I got that and went to go select my address, it wiped it out and then said sold out. And I'm like, how in the fuck? And then I got lucky. I refreshed one time and it brought it back to my address input. I put my address in, complete order, and it let me secure one.
That's awesome. Did you get the disk drive one or the?
Absolutely. Yeah. I have no. If it was just a regular Blu-ray player, I would have considered it slightly. Probably still would have went disc just because I'm a physical media whore and I prefer tangibly holding the games. But it comes with a 4K Blu-ray player. To me, it makes absolutely no sense to get discless for an extra $100 or for $100 less when a 4K Blu-ray player is like what, 200 something bucks
at least.
So, yeah. So yeah, I definitely went disc.
Yeah. So to skip to the other side of the. So first of all, people who launch their video game systems in mid-November are jerks because you have Black Friday.
Holiday shit.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes they do it in September, sometimes, but mid-November when Black Friday's 2 weeks away, just makes Black Friday that much worse.
Oh my God, dude! You're telling me. I worked my last Black Friday right as the PS4 and the Xbox One launched. Ugh. And I can't remember. Did I? I think actually, you know what? I just missed my last Black Friday because I changed jobs in November at the beginning of that month, so I missed it by a couple of weeks. But whenever I changed, I went from Target to the construction company that I worked for. It was when PS4 and Xbox One dropped. And I remember working at the store just at launch stuff when people kept coming in every 5 minutes and like, do you have any yet? And I'm like, it's the middle of the day on a Thursday. We don't get fucking shipments 5 minutes ago. No. Pro tip, if you guys are ever looking for stuff, though, if you see a newspaper article or the little fold-outs, if they still do those, or if you look online to their ads, if a retailer advertises something, they have to have at least 2 in stock. So if you see Target or Best Buy or whatever saying, PS4, $4.99, that means that they're going to have some in stock that morning. So get in line because that was a pro tip that I learned. And that's how I secured the Nintendo Switch without having to pre-order it. I just walked into Target the minute it opened and grabbed one and left.
That's good to know.
Yeah, pro tip. So yeah, it was. I remember just missing that. But yeah, they always have bundles on Black Friday where you have like this plus a controller and a game for $100 less than what it normally is, or $50 less, and then the same thing on the opposing team. But when they launch it so close to Black Friday, it's only the next year that they get those. It's just the regular system.
Yeah.
And they never have them in stock for Black Friday. It's always the weekend after.
So do you know the setup that Xbox has set up with their plan between their two systems, the digital and the the brick. One of them is you can pay $34.99 a month, and you have to pay for either 2 or 3 years, and then you own the system. But you still, with that $34.99, you get Xbox Live or whatever this incarnation is. And essentially, it's like a phone company where you're paying for the data, and this system just happens to be free.
Yeah, the $800 phone just gets wrapped into your bill every month.
Yeah. I really don't hate that. I quite like that.
I'm in the middle on it. It's a good option. I don't know. I'm not an Xbox hater. I need to say that out loud because I know anything negative I say Xbox, anything positive I say PS5 is going to get the crazies going. But this generation, it's been no secret that all Xbox has been doing is kind of just showcasing their numbers, saying, hey, ours is, 1.2 megahertz more. And there's not really any launch games that's out to really kick anybody's ass. They took Halo Infinite out to revisit it because everybody hated the trailer. And it seems like stuff like that would almost be like a play for desperation, like, oh shit, we're about to lose this again, we better make some plays, because PlayStation obliterated Xbox in the last generation, especially right out of the gate, because if you remember correctly, Xbox One was trying to do these things where if you can't resell games to GameStop, you can't let a friend borrow it, you have to pay like a fine. Like if you buy a used game, there's like a $20 activation fee or some shit like that. They were trying to do all this, and then PS4 came out with their little conference, and they said, this is how you can trade a game, or how you can let somebody borrow a game on PS4. And they were like, here you go. And that was it. And then they had to revisit their whole strategy and remarket the game and take all that stuff out of Xbox Live. So that really cost them last year. So it seems like this year they're trying to pivot and be a little bit more forward with options like that, when Sony seems like they're pretty comfortable just doing the regular old thing.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Well, for as much as everybody complains about whatever when it comes to games and stuff, the price of games is pretty much the same as it's been since we've been kids. Like $60 has really been the price always.
I think it was $50 for PS1 and PS2, and then it was $60 for PS3 and PS4, as well as Xbox in those same generations, and then now it's going to be $70.
Oh, are they going to be 70? See, I opened my mouth too soon. Because the one thing I would always compare it to, how much is a gallon of gas when this thing came out? Oh, 88 cents. That and $50 for a video game. They've been pretty consistent with the games, and then there's this free shit where they're like, here, we'll give you this if you want to play it, whatever. But if you want the watermelon outfit, you got to pay $9.99.
Yeah, they again, I'm not really well versed in Xbox just because so far this generation I'm not really interested in getting one. I'm sure I'll get one once some exclusives start coming out, just like I did the Xbox One. When Gears 4 was coming out, I got mine.
I'm trying to think, what are the exclusives other than Gears and Halo?
That's Forza.
Car racing game, okay.
Call of Duty is both, but it always feels more Xbox for some reason to me.
Well, a Call of Duty on the PS4, they just released an alpha. They're letting people on the PS4 play the new one right now. It seems like Xbox I don't know, pays or have worked out some deal where it's like, please, Call of Duty, just say our name in your commercial.
Only on Xbox. But yeah, I'm not too well versed in the Xbox. What is it? All Access or whatever they're calling it, where you have the library of games and stuff.
Yeah, Game Pass. That's
Game
neat.
Pass. That seems to be more what they're going for this generation, more than the actual system.
Right. I think that's what this $34.99 thing is, where they're hoping that people don't necessarily need to buy games.
And And then PlayStation is doing something with PlayStation Plus where you buy the PS5 and all of the big exclusives on PS4. I'm sure more eventually, but right out of the gate, when you own a PS5, you have free access to all of the big exclusives from PS4. So Spider-Man, God of War, Days Gone,
that's badass. Yeah.
Uncharted 4. Those are all free to play on PlayStation Plus, whatever they called it, which is kind of cool. So it seems like that's what they're going towards. And this might be the last generation you get a physical box. You know, it might just be, it might go the fucking Fire Stick route after that, where it's like, hey, here's your little device to play all the PlayStation games, but you just got to pay for the service or something. That seems to be where it's going.
Yeah. It's I mean, everything's going that way, whether it be television, movies, all that shit. It's just you know, a la carte. What do you want here? Yeah. This is what you're paying for. You're paying for the one exclusive little thing that you want.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm there's not so many launch titles that I'm really excited about. I did pre-order Spider-Man Miles Morales and Demon's Souls. I've never played the original Demon's Souls, but I really loved Bloodborne, which is kind of like a cousin to Dark Souls. Okay. But I got those. I think the only other 2 launch titles on PlayStation is it's like All Stars Destruction or something. It's kind of like Twisted Metal with a little bit of cyberpunk thing added into it, and then Sackboy, the Little Big Planet or whatever.
I like that. I like those Little Big Planet games. I'm curious.
I've never played one.
You know, it's just a side scroller, but it's silly fun, adorable little sack puppet. That's just
it's a little platformer.
Yeah, your kids will steal it from me. That's essentially.
Well, I bought Little Big Planet 2 back in the day, and my brother and sister stole it from me. So I was like, okay, have fun with my shit. But as far as the games that are announced, I was just more excited for, like, Ratchet and Clank looked badass. They announced the new God of War, which is like, oh my god, yes, for next year. I don't know if you got to play God of War for PS4, but
no.
Oh my god, dude! Like I'm not somebody that has been a God of War fan, really. I liked the first couple games. I liked the third one. I didn't play any like the side stories or anything, but I always was just kind of casual. I was like, okay, these are cool. Guy's kind of a dick. I don't know if I really like his character so much because he's just pissed off all the time. And then you get to God of War, and that game is just like on a whole other level as far as storytelling and emotion and bringing depth to his character and bringing it into like Norse mythology. So it's a little bit more, it was a little bit different, but the same kind of style. That game, I mean, that with Last of Us 2 are like top level from this generation for me. And they've already announced God of War 5, God of War Ragnarok or whatever, where Thor is going to be coming into it as the villain, I believe. So it's going to be crazy. We have a super chat, don't we? Francisco Gonzalez. I thought this was your live Saw review. LOL. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work. I don't know if I marketed it as Saw, but sorry for the deception.
Did something dead air happen in Saw?
I don't know, but thank you.
I'm wondering what the connection is. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Dead air.
So we were talking about the Babysitter before we went live. You had some discussions that you wanted to bring up about.
Yeah. So why don't you tell me how you I have this policy where I don't watch other people's reviews before I watch a movie.
You fucked it up. It's not before you watch the movie, it's before you film your review. That way you don't say the same thing that they say.
So I haven't watched your review, but I know you're fond of the sequel to Babysitter. And I just watched it, and I'm not entirely fond of it, but it's more for like nitpicky comedic. I don't know. It's certainly listen. In the year 2020, the movie's totally right now. It's so goofy and fun. Just that's a movie we all need right now.
Desperately. Yeah, I loved the first one. I was over the moon about the first one. It was a big surprise. I think it was my favorite horror film that year. So I really enjoyed that one. And then this one came out, and it kind of came out quick. It was only like advertised a month or so before it hit Netflix. I did get an early screener for it, so that did add to my excitement. That was kind of a first for me through streaming services, so I was excited about that. But I didn't watch any of the trailers. I was very concerned. Spoilers for this movie, by the way, guys, because we're probably going to get into it a little bit. I was concerned about Samara Weaving not being marketed anywhere, not being mentioned, not being in the cast list or anything. I had a bit of a suspicion that maybe they were being coy with that, but I was still worried. And I turned the movie on. I watched it as a double feature, which does help because it immediately bleeds into the other one. The tone is the same. So I watched the first one, then immediately watched the second one. And I just had a blast with it. I think that I liked where they had the character of Cole to where he was still he was a little traumatized by the whole thing, but he didn't really gain anything from it. He didn't get to be the badass at school because everybody thought he was full of shit. He's getting closer to this girl that he really liked from the first one. And then it just kind of does the 22 Jump Street route where it's like we're doing the same thing over again, but we're kind of self-aware about how silly that is. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that all of the characters came back. Robbie Amell especially was probably my favorite. And the gore is over the top and crazy and for comedic effect. I really, on the negative side, I really enjoyed all of the twists and turns and surprises they had in store for you, but I saw every single one of them coming a mile away. So I was cool with that. At the same time, if you're trying to, be secretive, I felt like it was pretty obvious where they were going to go with things. And there was a couple of segments in it where I feel like it was a bit too over the top, like the fight scene that was made to look like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. I thought that was a little silly. There was another sequence where a dance sequence is used to be a metaphor for him losing his virginity. And it was a little, again, just a little over the top. I like the style of those movies. I like how goofy and tongue-in-cheek they are, but it was just a tad much for me. And despite the fact, again, I said spoilers, so mute if you need to. Despite the fact that she does come back in the final act, and she is kind of sprinkled throughout the movie in flashbacks, the movie definitely feels Samara Weaving's absence for the most part. But I really enjoyed how they utilized her. I understood what they were going for. I liked the little story twist they had involved with her and, kind of turning a new cheek after the events of the first movie and wanting to kind of bring it all full circle and make up her wrongdoings and the backstory with the new chick. I forget her name, the new chick that he kind of gets smitten by.
From Dr. Sleep.
Still
don't know her name, but I know she's from Dr. Sleep.
Yep. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was close to the first one, not quite as good because I enjoy having Samara Weaving there the whole time. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, well, like I said, it was certainly something fun and goofy and much appreciated at a time like this. The story I felt was okay to follow. There's nothing really to cry about when it comes to the story, but when it comes to the comedy, I felt like it was just so hard, so heavy, like there was no, don't leave that out because it's not going to work. Everything was a joke and everything. It seems like screaming is funny now. I don't know what that's about, but just scream, it'll be funny. The issue I have is every single character has like the same characteristics. They all like speak the same. They all have like the same way they joke. The kid goes from the main character. He goes from introverted and shy to fucking just confident as all balls by the end of the movie. And it's like, whoa, what was so he hangs out with a girl for a little bit and suddenly he's
hey man, when you lose your virginity, you get your dick wet for the first time, you're like, I'm a new man. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I remembered Mick G directed it, and it was just like, yeah, I thought it was funny how many times they mentioned Terminator 2, and in the back of my head, I'm like, I wonder how Mick G feels about just constantly referencing a movie that's better than the one he did.
Hey, I like Salvation, so you shut your whore mouth.
No, I like Salvation too. Terminator's 2 is just certainly a bit better.
Terminator 2 is better than what 99.9% of all movies, as far as I'm concerned. William Fox with a super chat. Hey, Cody and CP, I managed to pick up a PS5 at Target and pre-ordered Spider-Man Miles Morales. Next year is going to be wild with both Resident Evil 8 and God of War 2. Yeah.
Oh, Resident that's right. 8. Resident Evil. Yeah. Yes, what's it called? Village, right?
Village.
Yeah.
They got a new trailer out for that too. My fucking lips are already wet waiting for that one.
Yeah, that's content right there.
Hell yes. But yeah, I don't know. It worked for me. I see that both movies really. I don't think are for everybody, but I feel like if you were really on board for the first one, I think your chances are pretty good for liking the second one. I was cracking up a lot in the movie. I thought Robbie Amell was hilarious. I died laughing at the end whenever they all are about to die, and he realizes it's because his blood's no longer pure because he lost his virginity, and he's like, "You go, Cole. I'm not even mad, bro." And like, that shit, I was dying.
Yeah, the shirtless dude. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh man.
Yeah. So I mean, I when it comes to comedy, it just feels, stretch it out. Let it breathe a little bit. You don't have to hammer home so many punchlines and things, and everything doesn't have to be funny. I guess is my qualm with that movie, and it just felt a little over the top. But again, it's not like I'm hating on it because shit, it wasn't miserable. It was it was fun. So fuck, I'll take fun and a little too much right now because the other too much is gross right now.
Oh yeah. And who knows when we're going to start getting movies again, because Tenet kind of came out, they were the one that all of the studios were like standing back waiting for one, and they like pushed Tenet out into the fucking minefield to see how long it survived. And immediately after those box office numbers started coming out, you see Black Widow haul ass, you see fucking whatever else was coming out for towards the end of the year, they hauled ass, and
they stopped reporting. They stopped reporting for a couple of days what they were pulling in, and that
I don't understand. Like Tenet, I know you have this auteur thing about it where Christopher Nolan wants to keep his finger on the pulse of the cinematic experience, but I don't understand why we don't have one of these major, at least even like a mid-level release, like a Bill and Ted type movie where you release it in theaters and then after a week or two you put it in VOD to try to see how that works. I'm guessing their reservation is not wanting that to become the standard once things are back to normal. Because Universal and or was it just Universal? I think Universal.
Warner is another one that's kind of sticky.
Well, Universal made a deal with somebody about doing a smaller window release.
Yeah, Universal and AMC reached an agreement 17 days. So after 17 days, Universal can go home with it. That's that's quick. That's really quick because it used to be 80 days and then it was 60 days. And now it's 17.
Yeah. Exactly. AMC. There you go, Blake. Yeah, AMC was the one that was like, "Hey, yeah, we'll show your movie. And
please come back."
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
Show business every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Selfish plug.
Had to squeeze it in there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I have a hard time believing that we're not going to see another new movie until January of next year.
Yeah, there's things. I mean, it's sad to say this, but we're a capitalist nation, and entertainment, sometimes things evolve and sometimes things don't make it, and drive-in theaters, they're kind of rare. Maybe movie theaters may not be able to survive this the way we know movie theaters is the thing to do. They're going to get hurt by this regardless. And unfortunately, movies, they're going to keep making movies because that's the product. So just because I own a store doesn't mean that Coke has to sell their product in my store. That Coke's going to still go without me. So theaters really need to figure out if there's a plan B, because they're in a bad situation right now.
Yeah, they are. Something's going to have to give, because movie theaters can't sit on them for very long either, because they borrow all that money. They don't just have it in a bank somewhere. And they're like, okay, let's spend $700 million on this. They get a loan, and the more that they don't get that return, it just clock's ticking away.
Yeah, you better make something that makes people want to get there. I don't know what the hell that's going to be, but
yeah, it's going to have to be something. It's going to have to be some kind of a compromise to where they have that release window shortened or something. They're going to be pushed in that direction by the time this comes. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for those of us that love going to the movie theaters, but they're not going to have too much of a leg to stand on before long.
Yeah, they had to. They had to concede a bit, because they had no cards. You have a hum coming from your microphone.
I do.
Yeah. Okay, that's better.
Is it back?
Now it's back.
What the hell? I don't hear it. Anybody in the chat hear it, or is it just on the receiving end of the other side?
And now it's okay.
Can you please handle her? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, Renegade Hero says I hear the hum too.
What the hell?
Oh, Daily Bits says they sold more PS5s than they physically had. Oh.
Well, I haven't seen a report from anybody else, but from Amazon. Amazon has sold more than they had, or they were going to get more, because Amazon today sent out a mass email to everybody that pre-ordered through them and said,
whoops.
Yeah, it might not come. Yeah, it looks like my thing wasn't plugged in all the way. This MacBook's a little bit of a bitch because it only has 2 of those power inputs, so I had to buy a little brick that goes into the side. It's literally, the input is this big, so it's not like a USB that plugs in and it stays. And so if you just move it slightly out of there,
yeah. MacBook, huh?
Yeah.
Dark side.
Took me a long time, dude, because like I've never, much like we were talking about with streaming programs, I've never wanted to put forth the time or effort to figure out Mac shit.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do Control Alt Delete and know what the hell I'm doing.
It'll take a little bit of time, but once you get that time, the like Adobe suite and shit, you're like, what's that?
It's past already, the time of me figuring it out. It was like 2 weeks of confusion. Like, how the fuck do I double click? What's going on?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, ooh, I'm a believer.
Yeah, and the creative stuff is, I'm sorry, you can give me the strongest computer in the world. I like my Macs when it comes to doing Adobe whatever.
I have not had a single problem with Photoshop or Premiere or anything since making the leap, and I could not say that before with multiple computers. So yeah, I'm going to talk to my 13-year-old self and be like, shut the fuck up and get a Mac, goddamn it.
You have no idea.
Oh man, did you check out that new Seether album? Are you a fan of Seether?
It's been a while since I've listened to their stuff. No, I don't hate them. They did a cover of Man in the Box, or at least they used to live, and I was like, it's pretty good.
They did a cover of House of what the fuck is it? Shit, I'm losing the damn title of the song. It's that Deftones song.
Oh, Change in the House of Flies?
Change in the House of Flies. I was like, it's not House of Flies, it's something else. They did a cover of that when I saw them live. I've seen them live twice, and that was pretty badass. Dad, and he didn't know the song because he's not a Deftones fan. I'm a casual fan, but I knew that song when they started playing it, and I was like, sweet.
Yeah, that had big radio airplay when that.
Oh, for sure. If you know any of those songs, it's that one.
Yeah. Riley's crying. She wants to say hello.
Oh, Lord. Hang on. Let me add Holly as a moderator because I added her before, but she must have changed her.
Ooh, her Holly Leach.
Yeah, that must have been it. You changed her last name. And now you
somebody's
lost
jumping the gun, I think. There's still time.
Absolutely.
By the way, no, there's not. You guys legitimately got married, right? Yeah, not engaged. There's pictures on. There's pictures. Yeah. Don't mind me. I don't have a brain.
You're good. Yeah, we got married at the beginning of August, so it's been a funny year because the year has been shit on the outside of our personal lives, but in our personal lives, we've had a lot of big milestones this year. We got married. If everything goes right here in a couple of weeks, we'll be homeowners. So it's awesome. It's been a good year for us, despite having to wear masks to go out to eat.
Meanwhile, the rest of the world's on fire. There's fucking chaos. Really good year for us. Fucking people falling out of the sky and
small price to pay for my happiness. Oh man. Yeah, it's been interesting. I'm the door is locked. I can't get up and unlock it.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Carry on for just a minute. Let me go say hi.
Sure.
The fucking house is a meltdown.
So Cody brought up the Deftones, who do have an album coming out in a week. I'm hoping with this format that Cody and I will be like, this is kind of a dealer's choice, anything goes kind of deal that we're doing here. We're not trying to strictly focus on movies. We want to talk about pop culture stuff and other stuff. But I'm hoping maybe this will be the platform, like some sort of Dead Air Presents type, like a special edition of this platform where we could talk about bands, maybe music, maybe we do like music compendiums, because we keep throwing, like, I think it's been about a year now where we've thrown the idea around about doing some sort of Alice in Chains thing, whether it be a countdown, a something. Metallica would be a good one to do a compendium and a countdown, whatever. 2 new singles out. 2 new singles. I only know of one. Shit, I gotta go search for that second one. How are you, CP? I'm good. How are you? Well, I'm okay. I'm obsessed with Deftones. That's good. I'm liking Dead Air. That's good. A BS session. Yeah. Alice in Chains compendium. It's compendium means collection. Just complete work.
And I'm back.
Hi. So I was saying, I was kind of hoping that maybe we could use this platform to shoehorn some of our maybe ideas into, like, getting an Alice in Chains episode where we just kind of do that. Maybe Metallica.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Dead Air presents the Metallica compendium or some garbage like that.
Absolutely. All of that other shit that I don't get to talk about nearly enough. Sounds good. Yeah, I've got some cool things in the works for that. Whenever we do our top 10 video, sometime by the end of the year. I've got some cool things in the work. I got Stay Metal Ray, who's been a viewer of all of ours for a while. He does a lot of guitar instructionals and stuff. He's going to help me do some, he'll record himself playing something. I think he does vocal covers. I do the same thing. So I was going to try to take some of those clips
and avoid the copyright.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's nice.
Copyright and put a little bit of flavor in there. So I've got, for just a simple top 10, I've got a lot of really exciting ideas of how to make that one pretty cool. But yes, I'm all for that, because I've got a Metallica ranking coming out whenever I decide I want to get publicly stoned.
That's hard. What is it? 10, 20? How many
albums do they have?
Oh, you're ranking albums.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Ranking their studio albums.
I thought songs. I'd need a minute.
Top 10 for Metallica. Yeah, that would take me a minute. Alice in Chains is pretty easy for me to come up with, because there's some songs that they have that it's just like, oh, that's easily top 5.
Yeah, the Dirt album. So just put that.
I got a lot of love for that first one, Facelift. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like is really underrated compared to Dirt, because there's a lot of ones in there where it's like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what happened. I always loved Love, Hate, Love, but suddenly that's gotten some sort of weird kick on the internet, like vocal coaches and the whatever reacts thing. I keep getting suggested these videos where people react to Love, Hate, Love, and I'm like,
oh, I don't even want to. I don't even want to watch videos like that where it's like some 17-year-old kid with a YouTube account that has a following listens to fucking Dirt for the first time and you get his reaction or something. It would go one of two ways. Either they're like really overselling it and it's like, yeah, no shit, join the party, or it's somebody's like, oh, that doesn't work for me at all. It's like, fuck you, go listen to something else.
There's a certain layer of phoniness to it. Like you could tell these people know the story of Lane Staley, and that we're 6 seconds into the song and Lane hasn't done a thing yet. And there's this one woman who's like, "Oh, you could feel the pain in what the way he hasn't said a word yet. What do you mean pain? What are you talking about?"
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen those where it's like movies or a song. They hear it for the first time. I think it was what the hell? There was 2 kids that was doing it. Went viral for a while. They were listening to some classic song. Maybe it was Bohemian Rhapsody or something, but. Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those weird new trends that everybody and their mother's going to do for 6 months.
Playing that YouTube game.
Yep. Yeah, guys, I'm going to be rewatching Dexter. For those of you asking, I'm actually about to finish season 1. Me and Lindsay are going to review those through October and November every season. And we've already argued plentiful times about. She is a season 8 defender, and I am not. So that's going to be an interesting culmination of that review series. You're going to have one side of it, unless it has some miraculous, age where I watch it now and I'm like, I get it. If things stay the way they are, you're going to have one video that's condemning it and one video that's cussing everybody out for all of their hate towards it. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you want to open up the chat?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned with this show, the chat's pretty much open the whole time. So if they derail us, we're not going anywhere. So we ain't gonna hurt us too much.
Look at that. Devon Lott says, "What are you guys' thoughts on Lovecraft Country?" Sorry, bro, but I got mine.
I have not. Let me see. I have not seen that show. Have you?
No, I haven't.
Reviewing it and reacting to it, but
yeah, Emily's been talking about it, and she really digs the idea of the race reversal, because Lovecraft was notoriously racist, and it's a black family in this series, and I'm sure he would love to know that his work is now being well, whatever.
He's doing fucking like barrel rolls.
Yeah. I'm curious. I know Emily's certainly a hell of a lot more intrigued than I am, And if she gets around to it, I might just kind of peek over her shoulder and see what's going on there. But I've heard it's really good. Antebellum is today too, guys.
And I have not heard that is very good. I've
Oh,
heard
no,
everything
really?
negative about it. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. I couldn't really gather what it was about. I know it had something to do with oppression and slavery, and it was going for that kind of theme with the
Time travel too,
Time
right?
yeah, it was something about. I remember it was a modern woman, and all of a sudden she was like running from slave owners or something back in the day. So it was I don't know. I couldn't grasp what it was from the trailer, but I've heard early reactions, and they haven't been good. Something about the movie really missing the mark of what it's trying to say. But
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, and I'm about to say something that nobody endorses. This is strictly me speaking, but why can't they just make movies with black people that don't focus on slavery? I mean, it could be an Oscar bait or whatever, but it seems like there's always a predominantly African American cast that seems to touch on that. Like, why can't we just have like, I don't know, like Bill and Ted, but they're just black guys? What?
It seems like they're all trying to have some kind of a message nowadays.
Yeah.
The message is always close to the same, which is fighting, the things that a lot of people are fighting this year, especially. So yeah, it does tend to feel that way. Like after there was something major that happened last year, and it seemed like every movie that came out for the next 6 months, you had that movie, The Hate You Give, and it was like every other movie that you saw was that with a different
so
cast.
heavy-handed. Yeah. I mean, just how about Mission Impossible with a black lead? Just how about that? It's just a movie. We enjoy it. Don't have to be, so serious and uncomfortable. And now I'll stop talking about that. It's just something that always kind of, I don't know. It seems like it's always a thing every year.
Yeah, I'm with you. William Fox, how would you guys rank the main grunge bands from worst to best? My list would go Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Nirvana. Well, you got Stone Temple Pilots missing from that list, but other than that, for me personally, I would have. Okay, so we're going from the bottom up. I would have Pearl Jam at the bottom. I would have Nirvana just above that. I would have Stone Temple Pilots just above that, then Soundgarden, and then Alice in Chains at the top.
Yeah, I'm almost exactly the same. I just think Stone Temple Pilots lasted a little too long because of the small sample size of Nirvana. I'm gonna put Nirvana above Stone Temple Pilots, although Stone Temple Pilots is great. It's just towards the end they get a little. But Pearl Jam at the bottom. I liked 2 of their albums. They get progressively less fun to listen to.
Yeah, I've never really been big on Nirvana. They got a couple of songs that I like, but they've always been they're probably the most popular of all of them. And I've always just felt Alice in Chains was on a whole other level.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's
they kind of ride that line, like they're grunge, but then they have stuff that's like almost metal, and then they'll
funk sometimes too.
They cover a lot of spectrum. Where Nirvana is kind of like that stereotypical sound because they kind of invented it. They're kind of that when you think grunge rock.
Yeah,
Nirvana. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I forgot who called them that, but Nirvana, and it wasn't meant to be an insult, but it kind of could be taken that. Nirvana is to the 90s what the Beatles was to the 60s, like very, very simple music, but it tapped into something. There's not much to Nirvana's sound. It's just I wasn't that big a Nirvana fan being younger, but when I saw the Kurt Cobain documentary that I forgot what it was called, but it was like sponsored by by his mother and all that. And you know, some of it was cartoon. It was a really, I think it was on HBO, but there was tracks where I'm like, what song is that? That's awesome. And you know, just. But yeah, Alice in Chains is on a different level. Soundgarden is
I love
shit.
Chris Cornell, man. Even there's some really good covers of Soundgarden songs too. Like Stone Sour did a really good one.
Really?
Yeah, they did Outshined, which is great. That's kind of one. We just had Seven Dust do the day I tried to live, which is actually pretty good. So yeah, I'm a big fan of those two.
How did I miss that Seven Dust song? I have a lot of Seven Dust.
It's good. It's like the single for their upcoming album or whatever. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I like Seven Dust, but
I love
Seven Dust to me is one of those bands that have such a distinct sound that a lot of it starts to sound the same. I was a big Seven Dust fan in high school and the early 20s. But right around the time that they got back with Clint Lowry, it started to feel samey. Everything that they came out with was just kind of the same vibe, the same kind of sound. I'm actually a big fan of their Sonny Mayo era that a lot of people don't really care for.
Their one album? Wasn't it just one album that they had them?
No, they had 3 or 4. They had 3 or 4 of them. Was
it really?
Yeah. Okay. I'll look it up while we're talking about it. But yeah, there was like 3 or 4 of them that came out there. They parted ways with Clint Lowry for a little while, and that was right around the time that I started to get into them. And that little 4 album or whatever stretch that they had with him was when I really liked them, and they were kind of going for a lot of different sounds. And then when they got back with Clint Lowry, they kind of seemed to settle into their groove.
I really dug the band that Clint Lowry was in, Dark New Day. They just never. I think they made it 2 albums.
I like Clint Lowry. Yeah, don't get me wrong. That's not a slight on him whatsoever. He's done some side projects that I really like. Let's see. Yeah, he was lead guitar from 1994 to 2000. Oh, no, never mind. Wrong one. Shit. 2005 to 2008. So yeah, when I was in high school, the entire time I was in high school. So Next, Alpha, and Chapter 7. So 3 albums he was with them. And that was right. Alpha was the album that I bought that really got me into them and made me kind of go back and listen to some older stuff and stay with them. Clint Lowry had something. It was like Hello Demons Meet Skeletons, where it was like all acoustic stuff that he was doing. That was pretty interesting. A couple of EPs. That stuff's really good too.
Yeah. What's the song? There's an acoustic song that he did with Seven Dust. I could break into a million pieces. Fuck, I know the words, but yeah, he's got a smooth voice. It's keep rock alive, keep hard rock alive. Shit.
Absolutely. But getting back to what I started out with, Seether, their new album.
Sorry.
No, you're good. That's the theme of this show. Eventually we'll get back to the track. But yeah, they just had a new album come out 2 weeks ago, a week ago, something like that. It's really good. It's really good. Their last album had a couple of really good songs on it, but overall I didn't think it was their strongest effort. But this, I forget what they call it. It's something like Si Veris Parabellum is the name of the new one. But it feels like the aggression of their early stuff with the polish of their last 3 albums or so. So it's kind of that good mix there. But I've been listening to it. I've been meaning to get a review and rank all their albums. I might be able to do that this weekend or later on in the week. But if anybody's a Seven Dust fan, or a Seether fan.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what? I'm down. I'm down for the
same Metal Ray. The song CP was talking about is Christmas Day.
Thank you. Yes, it was. Good job, man. I appreciate that. That would have bothered me for a while.
Don't you hate that?
Yeah.
Back in the days before we had Google, that was a bitch, wasn't it? You think of something and you're like, fuck, what's the name of that movie? And now you just Google the most random reference and eventually you'll find it.
Yeah. Emily, I feel like telling her because like she'll like something will come on TV and she'll use what what's that app where you can hear the song and it'll tell you what the fuck it is? It's an S or whatever. There's an app.
Shazam or something like that.
Yeah, Shazam. That's it.
Yeah.
She'll hold Shazam up to the TV and she's like, "Oh, it's this," and then she starts playing on the phone. I'm like, "Motherfucker! If we had that 20 years ago, you have no idea how well you have it."
I think about Perks for Being a Wallflower, where they have that song when they drive through the tunnel, and then the rest of the movie is the whole school year, and they keep referencing not being able to find the tunnel song, and then whenever she comes back, she's like, "I have a roommate that's really into music, and I found the tunnel song." It's shit like that.
Yeah.
The movie would have been over in 5 like oh
yeah. There's times like where there's been times where I've listened to a radio. I've had to pull over, call the fucking radio station and say, "Hey, what was that song with the yeah. It was like 3 songs ago. What was that?"
I had that happen whenever Shinedown first came onto the scene, and they had that song 45 that was blowing up the airwaves. I had just moved to Savannah, and we had a long commute between school and where our rental house was, because I was going to school where we were going to get our house built, which was like 30-40 minutes away from where we were renting. And every single day after school for like the first 9 weeks of my high school career, I would hear that song on the radio, but the background noise of my brothers and sisters, or the road noise, I could never hear the way they fucking introduced it. I could never hear the name of the band, or I would put the radio on and the song had already started. And I swear it was like 3 weeks of me trying, like, what the fuck? Who plays this damn song? And eventually I finally, I was listening to it one day, with determination. And I heard it and I called my dad. I was like, "Hey, I found the name of that band. It's Shine Death." And he was searching for Shine Death for like half an hour. He's like, "I don't see this shit." Eventually I walked into Best Buy and just went to Shine and found Shine Down. And I was like, "Oh, that's why you couldn't find it." But that's a funny story. Nathan Oswald, do you listen to Avenged Sevenfold? There's like 2 albums by them that I really liked, and it's the least Avenged Sevenfold albums.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hail to the King I loved, and their self-titled album I loved, which are more straightforward, not quite as animated, cartoonish. They have a very like a circusy kind of sound that they go for with the guitars. I am not a huge fan of that. They do have songs that I like in that style. But yeah, I loved Hail to the King. To me, that was their best album. But true Avenged Sevenfold fans tend to not like it because it's more mainstream, I guess, which I get. Sometimes you get a band that goes mainstream and it scares the shit out of you, because then they never go back to what they're known for.
Yeah. When I listen to radio and stuff like that, or whatever stuff in the car, I used to like the song that insert band here was played so much, because it was being played at a time where I didn't want to hear it. Like Change, you brought up Change from the Deftones. I love the Deftones. I probably listen to Change less than most of their Deftones songs I listen to, because it's nice to have a band that's popular and getting airplay, but at the same time sometimes you feel a little saturated, because it's like
absolutely
that's
something that me and my dad have always been real heavy on, him even more so than me, to where a lot of times singles or the songs that get the airplay become like our least favorite songs.
Right.
Like I love Metallica, top 3 bands of all time for me. Black Album is my most influential album as far as getting into guitar and stuff like that. There's at least 3 or 4 songs off of that album that I would be happy if I never heard again.
Yeah.
Because anytime you turn on the radio and Metallica plays, it's always Enter Sandman or Nothing Else Matters. Enter Sandman, Nothing Else Matters. Oh, The Unforgiven, Nothing Else Matters. Enter Sandman. And it pisses you off as a fan, because you see this catalog of music and you're like, this is all great shit. Why are you playing the same song? It's one of the reasons why I always have a bug up my ass about Guns N' Roses. Like, how fucking long are we going to live the Appetite for Destruction. You know what I mean? It's just like your whole legacy is 4 songs off of that album. And you get that in a lot of bands. AC/DC, Back in Black. I could care less if I ever hear that fucking song again. I mean, it's just the ones that constantly get played. Crazy Train. That's another one where every time I hear, I'm like, next.
Yeah. I mean, the second half of the Black Album, like my Friend of Misery, The God That Failed. It was a good fucking song. Yeah, Struggle Within. Yeah, like fuck.
Even Guns N' Roses, who I bitch about constantly, especially when we listen to rock radio at work. Even that album, you look at the songs that aren't those 4 core songs, and you got Rocket Queen, you got Night Train, like badass songs that you never fucking hear. Don't Cry off of Use Your Illusion, which is my favorite Guns N' Roses song. Never hear that shit.
Yeah,
we'll hear Paradise City 18 times a day.
Fucking Rocket Queen's my jam.
Oh, I love it. You could be mine. That the one from T2. That's another awesome one. Yeah, it sucks. It's one of those things where if you're a true music fan, and then if you're just a radio fan, you can easily spot the difference once you start talking.
There's an idea for some sort of music-based thing. Our top 10, 20 non-singles, like songs from an album that you think are awesome that haven't had radio play. That might be nice. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting idea.
It's not in the oven yet. It's just kind of
it's in its raw form right now. Don't take a bite right now.
Swirling the ingredients, just
Oh man! All right, Dale's asked this question a couple of times. Have you guys ever watched Boondock Saints? If so, what are your thoughts? Personally, I love it. I love the first one. The second one, I think, has a lot of fun, but especially from Rita from Dexter, it goes a little off the rails a bit.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what I was talking about with Babysitter. They're a little silly. It's in the first one. It's okay. It's okay in the first one. It's an out there action film, but like it almost seems like they played up to that in the second one, and it was just like no. Be badasses, not fucking pranksters.
Exactly. I'm with you on that one. This is one that I was kind of talking about earlier. Flinner, from your experience, is it possible to get a console on launch day if you haven't pre-ordered?
It's possible.
It is possible, but it is a struggle. I was saying earlier,
outside.
Yeah, I have never been and will never be the guy that stands outside of Best Buy at 6 a.m. waiting for them to open. And I don't know if the Nintendo Switch was... It's going to depend on where you live, how many stores are in the area that you live, what's the hype behind it and everything. Because I was able to walk in on launch day of Nintendo Switch easily in Target in Savannah. Walk in, go right to electronics, get one, get a controller, get a game, walk out, no problem whatsoever. Like it was nothing. And it just depends. It depends on the inventory. But I was saying earlier, a pro tip, if you don't happen to get one on launch day, a pro tip for the couple of weeks, months, or whatever after that, if you see any retailers that put out on their ads online, the weekly ads, and they advertise the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox Series X or whatever, then they're legally required to have at least 2 in stock. So if you have any that you see advertised, make sure you're the first one in line that Sunday. Let's see. William Fox, what do you think of Corey Taylor's new solo stuff so far? P.S. I'm sorry to all the Stone Temple Pilot fans. It's grown on me. It's grown on me quite a bit, actually. He has 2 songs that he's released so far. One of them is Black Eyes Blue, which is very much in the vein of Stone Sour. I like that one right away. It feels like kind of like 90s alternative rock kind of thing a little bit. And then you have CMFT Must Be Stopped, which is kind of like his single where he's got a lot of hip hop artists and everything guesting on it. And it's a very self-aware song where even in the video, he's got all these rock icons like saying CMFT must be stopped. Like he's this force to be reckoned with. It's a more rap hip hop feeling song with some rock edge, which is not my genre at all. But the more that I've listened to it, knowing that it's Corey Taylor, I've grown on it quite a bit. So I actually enjoy both songs so far.
Yeah.
Forward to the album.
I have quite a bit of respect for Corey Taylor. The more I see him, the more he's well educated in music. He's well educated in film.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna omit that Pink Floyd review. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Whatever. But the guy knows what he's talking about, and you know, he makes good music and he gets around. I would call him the modern day Mike Patton, but Mike Patton's still doing Mike Patton things. So you know he's running around doing his thing, and a lot of it's great, brilliant shit.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. He's probably my favorite singer, to be honest. Stay Metal Ray corrected me. He did release a third one, Highway 666, which I only listened to once. I honestly don't remember where I landed on that one. I kind of forgot because it came out right when Seether came out, and I've been listening to that.
What was the apology to Stone Temple Pilots for?
Because he didn't put it on the list of bands.
Oh, he omitted it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious about it. I'm kind of sad that he announced that Stone Sour is going to be on a decent sized hiatus. I don't know if that's drama in the band or what. He said for the longest time that he would never do a solo album as long as he was in both bands, because between Slipknot and Stone Sour, he could pretty much cover all spectrums of what he wanted to do, and there was nothing that he needed to get out of his system that would require a solo album. So it's interesting if you heard him say that, and then you see him release a solo album and then say that Stone Sour is on hiatus at the same time. But
that's how I feel about Mudvayne. That's why I feel about Mudvayne. I really liked Mudvayne. It's just
I was a fan of them. I was kind of surprised that they just kind of abandoned that for Hell Yeah. And I love Hell Yeah, but it seemed like something you would do, like one album with Hell Yeah, one album with Mudvayne, and yeah.
I think there's personal issues.
There must be, because the guitarist from Mudvayne was in Hell Yeah for the first album, and then wasn't.
Well, you know, maybe there's things that are happening behind the scenes. We should just leave them alone and let them move on with their
career. Well, now that Vicky Paul is no longer with us, I don't imagine Hell Yeah will continue. So Mudvayne fan, maybe that's the silver lining to that whole situation, I guess, if you want to get even go there. Yeah, I don't know. It's it was weird because they were pretty popular too. They were kind of getting more popular right before they stopped.
Yeah.
Let's see.
What's up, Aaron? LD50's top 10 for me easily. Really? Top 10? Like all time? All music? Oh, Sydney's officially on board for Scream. Are you shocked?
No. I said that from the beginning. I don't know if they were spacing it out for marketing reasons to kind of keep the conversation going until January, or if they were, you know, she was pulling a Jamie Lee Curtis and like, I want this amount of money and I want to look at your script before I say yes. So I don't know, but yeah, to me, that was the most non-news thing that could happen. Of course, it's exciting if you're a Scream fan. I mean, I don't know if Scream would even feel like Scream if it was just Gale and Dewey running around and no Sydney. But I'm still not. I don't know where my needle hasn't moved on that movie at all until I figure out what they're doing. Because I just don't know. For one, somebody got to go as far as these three characters. I would be totally fine. I would be ecstatic actually if the opening scene, which is typically where they need to make their impact in a Scream movie, if Gale and Dewey are both taken out in the opening scene in a respectful but shocking way. And then Sydney's riding with the new crew for the rest of the movie, maybe dies at the end to save whoever the main girl is. As long as they characterize the new people right and do it correctly, you're going to get some people that are going to bitch and cry, but they've been around long enough.
What was Nev Campbell doing before Scream?
Wild Things. After Scream, I don't really know. I haven't really seen her do much of anything outside of Scream.
Yeah, nothing too concrete. So when you had Scream, Drew Barrymore was the name. It was like, holy shit, Drew Barrymore's in this movie. And they said, fuck you, no, she's not. Here's the real cast. I can't imagine them not being able to do it with a strong enough no name. Get Neve Campbell, fucking kill her off in the first 10 minutes, and let's see what you got. Give us somebody else. But that's a very unpopular opinion by me. So
I don't know if killing Sydney in the beginning would be. I don't know if they would be able to pull that off with the fan base, to be honest with you. But I think that they could do it with Dewey and or Gale.
I mean, seriously, name a horror franchise where the good person has lasted the protagonist, the final girl.
Scream. That's it.
Maybe Nightmare on Elm Street, I get, but she drops in and out.
Well, I mean, she was in the first movie, and then they did the second movie, and she wasn't there. And then the third movie, and then she gets killed off.
Yeah.
They did the meta movie, and so really she was only in 2 technically. Yeah. But
consistently, it's Neve Campbell.
Yeah, it's Neve Campbell, and she's the shit. She's one of my favorite final girls, so I definitely want her back. And then story wise, I just don't know what they're going to do. I kind of had a neat idea whenever this thing was floating around on Twitter, to where people were suggesting that maybe Matthew Lillard's character wasn't actually dead in the first movie, since he, they didn't show him getting like the headshot or whatever like they did with Billy. And as ridiculous as that sounds, I was thinking about Scream and how it's meta, how it's, reflective on the themes in horror at the time and everything like that. And I was like, what can they really comment on nowadays? Like, there's not really like a trend in horror that they can poke fun at. We're not in a remake craze. Slashers aren't on the way out. Exactly. Yeah.
Hereditary.
Exactly. Yeah. We're getting Oscars now. That's about the only thing you can poke fun at. But I thought about it and I said, well, the only thing that you could kind of make a case for being a trend right now is sequel / reboot coming out and deleting all the sequels but the original. And I thought, that would kind of be a creative thing that they could do.
Sure.
Where you have Ghostface come back, and they're starting to somehow in the story like delete the plot of 2, 3, and 4, delete the events of it somehow, and somehow in that writing, Stu ends up being the mastermind. Like, we're going back to the beginning. And I don't know how they would work it out. It would definitely take a lot of creativity, and they would have to play it close to the chest. But I was just kind of spitballing ideas, because that was my other concern, aside from, are these characters all going to live again? It's just, what are you going to do with the story? You can't just have a regular slasher, because then it's not Scream.
Yeah. Right.
They were talking about doing a new Nightmare type story, which could be cool. That's too meta for Scream. I think the meta franchise is going to get ultra meta, and now we're making a Scream, and Neve Campbell is playing herself. I don't know.
Yeah, but weren't they already doing that with Stab? Like, I thought that was kind of the deal.
Like Inception level of meta there.
Yeah. My brain hurts thinking about what the hell they'd even possibly think of.
I have no idea.
Yeah, good point, Paul. No Wes Craven. Do we know if Williamson's coming back?
He's a producer. He's not writing the script.
That's not encouraging.
I know. Yeah. I said that in a video too, that's of course Wes is going to be a concern, but Williamson arguably even more so, because that's where a lot of the Scream stuff comes from, is his writing. And the only movie that he didn't write is Scream 3, which is pretty universally the worst one.
Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. Some asshole was whispering in my ear. But it provided that this shit gets normal, though, by the end of the year, early next year, though, it's going to be a pretty cool year for horror, because you're going to get Scream, you're going to get Candyman, Final Destination. I think there's a Hellraiser that's somewhat in the works. I mean, it might be we might have a creative 31 on 31 that year.
Yeah, somebody. You want me to rank it now? Somebody better step up this Halloween and just say, you know what, fuck it, because It's Halloween. It's Halloween. People like scary movies, and everybody seems to be ducking off. You know, take your mid-level pseudo large horror movie that you were expecting to make 10 million from, and just VOD it. Like I don't. I mean, I guess
I'm sure Blumhouse will have October covered for us.
Yeah. How much of it's going to be worth it? But yeah, I just hope that we don't get robbed of something this Halloween.
Yeah,
because Candyman, I was kind of fired up for it. Backed out of that shit.
I was so excited for Candyman. That was basically my most anticipated for the rest of the year because I'm getting a lot of good feelings about it. I really feel like it's going to be pretty awesome. I mean, this chick got hired to be, was it Captain Marvel 2 or something like that? So the people that have seen the movie in Hollywood like what she's doing. Yeah, I don't know. I just have a really good feeling about that movie. We've had enough horrible Candyman movies that I feel like you have nowhere to go but up. So there was something I saw from Blumhouse where they had like a 4-way trailer debut of these like low-level little projects that they were doing. I think those were slated for October, like one a week or something like that. I might be misquoting it, but they definitely had something where they're like, "Hey, here's 4 movies coming out." That seems like something that they would do, go to VOD and still make a profit because those movies only cost what, 1.2 million every time that they put their name on it.
I'm telling you, well, I can talk about it because I was kicked out. I was kicked out of Run Sweetheart Run, which is over a year ago now.
Yikes.
And they still haven't released it. Like, what are they doing to that movie?
I don't know, dude. Look how early they showed the other one. I mean, they got a funny little screener business that they do there. I don't know if it's because they're genuinely looking for fan feedback.
Dude, and that's the other thing. I really, had I known, I would have looked around to see if I saw Blum, because I know Blum attended the thing that I was kicked out at. The audience is the most diverse thing you could possibly think of. You have people who are seniors, you have women, like it's like you're trying to, you're making a horror movie. You're not going to get Ethel and Herb, the grandparents. Why do you have them in the audience? Why wouldn't you have your test audience be people that you think genuinely would want to go see that? It's so strange how test audiences work, because they just they throw any type of human being. You want to see a free movie? Okay, here, sit down. What do you think? This movie sucked. And then they take that opinion and they tweak. And it's like, you can't, they're not fucking horror fans. What are you tweaking that shit for?
It's a weird thing because, I mean, if they do screeners, which of the movie in question, they did what, 2 that were well known. So you're thinking what?
East Coast and West Coast.
50 people total, maybe 50, 60 people. So 60 people are now going to represent the entire movie going audience. Yeah. I mean, you look at like a Rotten Tomatoes score and it's like 70% loved it, 30% didn't. Yeah. Who's to say that where those 60 people fall in that? Like you said, it's just not. If you sit me down and like they're talking about in the chat, if you sit me down and have me do a fan screening of The Lighthouse and ask me my thoughts,
yeah,
I am not the guy to tell you how to fix that movie because it's not a movie for me.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
What were your thoughts? He rocked the fuck out of that seagull. That's about all I could think.
So the one thing was they asked you movies that you planned on seeing, and they were only like horror movies. So I would hope if you weren't a horror fan, you would fill out none of those. And then, there's a space for you to write down what you liked, what you didn't like, what you would change, this, that, the other. The thing that didn't happen, I wouldn't change anything. it needs to be released is the best way I can put it, because you want to talk about Carnage Candy.
It's there.
Dude, some people get fucked up.
I'm dreading it as much as I'm looking forward to it, but I'm glad we have a year to decompress the unending fucking hype train in the community that we're in.
Yeah.
Have you guys discovered any new songs or bands lately? A band, I don't know how long they've been around, but a band that kind of came on my YouTube music playlist one day at work that I've slowly started to listen to more and more, and I've liked a lot what I've heard, is Bad Wolves. I don't know if they've been around for a while, if they've only had a couple of albums. I know they kind of came onto the scene with that Zombie cover from the 80s, which is good, but they have a song called No Messiah from their newest album that played, and that's a fucking kick-ass tune. So I started listening to them a little bit. They're a band worth checking out if you like. They have like 7-string guitars or baritone guitars, from what I can tell. So it's that really deep bass kind of heavy rock. But the singer's got a really good voice, so they're a good one.
Yeah. I forgot. My mind just completely. I don't know where I am. Discovered bands. I kind of close myself off when it comes to music. So usually if I listen to music, it's to, when I'm, doing something outside, cleaning, editing, and it's my MP3s. Rarely do I open myself up to new music, unless of course it's in a movie or some shit, and I was like, that was pretty badass. Let me see what that was about. And
I'm the same way. I kind of stick to what I know, because more than not, I don't really care for what I hear from new stuff.
Yeah.
Once in a while, something will trickle in, and I'm like, who's that?
Yeah.
And it's good to be able to know. But yeah, a lot of the newer stuff doesn't really appeal to me too much. I'm stuck in my comfort zone of 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and anything new that those bands come out with. Devin Lott, I've got one movie from Blumhouse that I'm geeked up for, Christopher Langdon R-rated venture Freaky with Vince Vaughn. I did not watch the trailer because Blumhouse trailers tend to give away everything, but from what I can tell from this movie, it's like a serial killer twist on Freaky Friday, where I guess Vince Vaughn and this teenage girl switch bodies, and Vince Vaughn's a serial killer or something.
Didn't they do that once?
They might have, but it's supposed to be...
It's a neat idea.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the same kind of universe as Happy Death Day, which I've been a fan of both of those, more so the first one. So that's the type of movie that I think Blumhouse does well. Just a cool little concept that we can make a quick little fun time, 90 minutes, and we'll be good. So I like Vince Vaughn too, so I like seeing him do something different. So I'll be at that one.
If
eventually. Let's see here. Vince Vaughn movies: Dragged Across Concrete and Brawl in Cell Block 99. I would give a huge thumbs up to both of those, especially Brawl in Cell Block 99.
He does a good job in Hacksaw Ridge too.
Oh yeah, he's good in that. He's underrated for his dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
I know you're a Stained fan. Yes, I am. And Stained is supposed to be recording some new music too. So Stained's going to be coming out with something, and Aaron Lewis is supposed to be doing a song, album of just like acoustic stuff with him, not necessarily country or anything like that, but just kind of like an unplugged album. So
another song that I enjoyed, and then the radio took it and destroyed it. Outside, I love that song. And then, dude, there was like slow rock radio that was playing it, and I'm like, you motherfuckers, you ruined this song for me.
Jeff Harris, hey Cody, have you listened to Metallica's S&M 2 album? This will apply to you too as well. Which era do you think James' vocals sounded the best? Load, reload, or underrated? Okay, so one at a time. Have I listened to Metallica's S&M 2? No, I have not. I'm not really a fan of the whole let's put an orchestra behind heavy metal. It was a cool thing that they were kind of the first band to do. Alter Bridge has an album that they do that, and their style of music fits that perfectly. And the orchestra that they have behind them actually makes some of the songs better. I've listened to a few songs from S&M, and I listened to one video that S&M2 released of All Within My Hands. It's kind of like a retooled song from Saint Anger, slowed down a little bit. I just don't think Metallica's sound fits well with an orchestra. It doesn't do anything for me. So no, I have not listened to the whole album. Where do you land on that?
I enjoy S&M. I enjoy it. There's certain songs like I feel when For Whom the Bell Tolls ends, the way it's the last 20 seconds or so, the way the symphony just getting all chaotic with the music and everything, it fits. Some of it you literally can't even tell that there's other music going on. Sometimes it's a give and take. I haven't listened to S&M2. I'm curious to see what's on there. Because if there's stuff from Saint Anger, like that album sounds like garbage. Like, and I don't.
That one song, All Within My Hands, is basically them going back to the drawing board and rewriting the song to be a little different. It's not like they just play Saint Anger. It's kind of them going, oops, there's still some bones here we can work with.
Yeah, you guys can afford some equipment and production. Why does this album sound like you recorded it on I don't know, my iPod?
Yeah. Which era do you think James's vocals sounded the best? It's hard to say because it's just different styles of music. I mean, he had a really good voice in like the Master of Puppets and Justice era for what they were doing.
Yeah.
As far as range in his voice, probably the 90s, I would say, were Black Album, Load Reload, because they were going for a lot more range, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
That showed a little bit more of his vocal talent, I think. So that would be my answer.
I was going to say Justice, Black Album, probably right around
late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And there was one more super chat. Ia Barthon. What's up, guys? CP, good to see you. Have you seen all the films for this year's 31 on 31?
Getting there.
Nope, I have not. I have to watch the entire Critters franchise. I have to watch Gremlins 2, which I have not seen since I was a kid. And I have to watch Jaws 3 and 4. Yeah. I've seen Gremlins 2 when I was a kid, but I have no memory of it because as a kid, I thought the first one was way superior. I don't know if I'll still feel that way. I'm sure I will. Jaws 3, I remember seeing on TV bits and pieces, but I have absolutely no memory of that. I can picture Louis Gossett Jr. That is it. Never seen Jaws 4. So all those movies, Jaws 3, 4, and all the Critters are going to be first timers for me.
Yeah, I tried watch. My uncle let me borrow a copy of Jaws 2, and it turns out it was aliens. So I was like, well, this is interesting.
That's a convenient fuck up.
Yeah, like, I'll just watch this instead. But same on all counts. Everything that you haven't seen, I with the exception of Critters, I've watched the first Critters, and I can't wait to get back at Brian because there's no way that movie's making it anywhere near my top 15.
I love he will go nameless because I don't want any. It was all in jest, but I was talking to a mutual friend of all of ours the other day, and he was watching our Christopher Nolan compendium, and he messaged me and he goes, I love Brian. He said, I love Brian. He opens up trying to defend the Christopher Nolan fanboys by being a Christopher Nolan fanboy. And I was we were riffing back and forth. I was like, yeah, you'll get to where he says, I recognize all the flaws of the Dark Knight movies, and I understand it's just my experience, and they're important to me. Yeah, I totally get all that. So about the plot holes in Dark Knight Rises, I don't get any plot holes. It doesn't.
As he's sipping his own Kool-Aid, just
exactly. Yeah, I'm curious where Critters is going to land because our boy Brian has been talking up Critters since day one.
I am not excited for the rest.
This year's 31 on 31 was my present to Brian after putting him through Texas Chainsaw and Friday the 13th. So yeah, I'm curious.
I'll tell you what, we kind of got spoiled in 2020. The Marvel DC, it was a pretty stacked list. 30, like if you made me watch 31 on that list, I'd be like, okay. Same thing with the action movies. The action movies was 95%. Yeah. This one's going to be pretty spread out where some might really, really suck.
Horror is always a little hard because we always have like, there's very few horror franchises that's like, oh, this whole franchise is good or this whole series is good. There's always the shit bombs that we have to get through.
Yeah. Jaws 4, can't wait.
Yep. Aaron Anderson, Cody CP, what is the closest you have come to snapping on a coworker? CP.
It's been a while since I've worked with people. I used to work in I stand-up comic until my father passed away. So there's
carry on. Oh, whoops, wrong one.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So I used to deal cards at a social club, which it's not really coworkers, but people playing at the game. I've had cards thrown in my face because the guy lost and I was the dealer, so obviously it was my fault. I'm kind of introverted when it comes to snapping. You know what? We'll call YouTube. We make money from YouTube. Last time I snapped with a coworker was Dino of the Late Late Horror Show, and you can watch it for yourself. I lost my shit.
I remember getting the message about that one. It was like, you need to tune into this. As soon as I tuned in, shut the fuck up for once.
What's up? I need to rewind. This is crazy.
Oh man. Closest that I've come to snapping on a coworker. I've come close quite a few times. I've never actually snapped on somebody that I work with because I'm very, very capable of being ultra professional. It's to the point where people I work with watch my channel and they're like, "You're not like this at all in real life," and I'm like, "No, I'm just not like that at work." So it's. I've never had that big scene or whatever. I worked with a lot of assholes when I did my little stint in construction and materials testing. The company that I worked for was a family-owned business that was ran extremely poorly, and they just kind of let everybody do whatever the hell they want. And you had a lot of prima donnas there that thought they were the shit, and they did everything the right way. And anybody that didn't do it the way that they did was slack. And there was one guy especially that was just a giant whiny bitch, big mouth. I never almost snapped on him at work because I would just let him make himself look like an ass because he's the type of guy that would just lose his mind about any little tiny thing. But there was quite a few times working there that I came close. I've come close once or twice working at the place that I do now. There's the way that things are set up, trying to explain it without naming the company that I work for because I don't want to get into any trouble. I don't know how weird they are about that. But basically with what I do, which is wiring airplanes, there's two steps to that process. There's, clamping everything down to the skin of the airplane in a certain way so that everything's secure. And then there's terminating all the wires into all the connectors and getting all the connections ready. It used to be one team would do all of that. And then they split that up and made those two processes two separate teams. But they did the wording very shitty as far as the official process. So there was a lot of shit that needed to be done in the first side of that process that would be not completely done because the wording would allow it. And then everybody on this team, which I'm a part of, would have to inherit it. And you would kind of get fucked over because you were both given the same amount of time to do your job, but you would have to inherit parts of this job. So there was quite a few times where you would get somebody that would exploit that instead of just being an adult and being like, look, I know I'm supposed to do this. They would look at the wording and go, oh, well, fucking, I ain't got to do that. And they would just drop it and leave it. So there was a couple of times with a couple of different people that, yeah, that didn't work well for me.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've worked with other people. A lot of the jobs I do is solo, by myself or for hire type things. But I did snap at a customer when I worked when I managed a movie theater. A woman came out 50 minutes after the film started and wanted a refund, and I said, "I'm sorry, you've already watched far too much of this movie. We can't give you a refund for this. If you want, you can go sit in on something else." And she was like, "This is impossible. The film is not over yet, so I demand that you give me my money back. The film is still on. It's not like I saw the whole thing and I'm leaving." And I was like, yeah, but you watched a lot. Like, we're just a house. The movie, if you have an issue with that movie, take it up with Sony Pictures. And she's like, actually, I have a problem with you and this theater. Do you know that I'm a lawyer? And then I said, so sue me. and the other guy next to me goes, you can't say that. You just gave her permission to sue the fucking company. I was like, what the fuck does you being a lawyer have to do with you not liking a movie?
Yeah, when I was one of the managers at Target, I got a lot of those what they call Karens nowadays.
Yeah, Karen. Yeah,
manager. I got a lot of those. My method was always to just quote our policy and just go robotic on them, and they would get even pissed. But they couldn't do anything. So it was always so fun because I'm somebody like I can relate to you as long as you're not an asshole or you're being ridiculous or it's obvious you're just trying to cause problems for your own gain. I'll work with you. But like we had during the holiday season in retail, especially nowadays, credit card and debit card companies are very finicky. So if you make big purchases in the holiday season, or if you go to Target and make a purchase, and then you go to Walmart and make a purchase, like they'll flag your shit, and your stuff will not go through. And some people understand this. Some people think that if you get a decline, then you're like calling them a poor piece of shit or something like that. So I had one of those women that her card was denied because she had went shopping all day long, and her credit card company said, "Oh shit, this might have been stolen," and denied whatever she was trying to buy at my store. And she got into it with the customer service lady at the front desk, and I had to go up, and she was just, the stereotypical meltdown mode. And I walk up and I'm like, "What's the problem? What can I do?" She's like, "Oh, this lady over here is saying that I don't have money in my account and I got over $5,000. I'm like, "Man, we're not saying you're poor. We have this whole thing where, if it's a holiday." And I explained the whole, and she's like, "Well, she's over here. She's got an attitude." And it just went on like that. And then eventually when I got to the point where I felt like she just wasn't going to listen, I just kind of went robotic. And I was just like, "Well, according to the policy we have," and I just stayed like that way until she's like, "Oh, well, whatever," and just walked away.
Yeah, call the card. There's a number on the back of the card that handles it
in like 90 seconds. Just call them and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
William Fox, do you guys listen to the White Stripes? They are my favorite band of all time. I do not. I can't even think of a White Stripes song, to be honest.
What's funny is I don't like the White Stripes, but I do kind of dig Royal Blood, which is kind of similar. It's a bassist and a drummer. That type of sound doesn't make sense to me. We're missing some instruments. But no, White Stripes was, even their commercial hits, I was just like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Blood Red Skies, thank you so much. Devin Lott. So you got Karen, huh? CP and Cody?
Oh,
exactly.
Oh, I can make a book full of Karens.
Yeah, there's a lot of funny stories as far as like bad experiences at jobs. Like I've had a lot of weird ones. Like my first job was at a place called Video Warehouse, which was kind of like a Blockbuster Video type thing. that's around here, and it was around here in Savannah. And it was the shittiest situation ever because I was junior. It was a summer before junior year, and so I wanted to get a job that summer. Went in to applied, met the manager, talked with her. She really liked me, wanted me to sit down, do an interview. I did the interview, went over everything, and then I had said how old I was, which I was 15 at the time, at the end of the interview. And she's like, "Oh, no. Oh, we can't hire you. You have to be 16. And I'm like, and then I kind of just stared at her, and she goes, "You know what? I'll get you a worker's permit. Never mind." And so that was weird. And then we finally, I started this job, my first job. And I started it like in July that summer, and then school started in somewhere in August. By September, that manager had left the company, and the people in charge of this company decided to not make a big priority out of replacing her. And so now it was me and 4 other teenage to early 20-year-old girls that had worked there for like a year or so are now in charge of this whole store. And they basically split all of the managerial responsibilities among the senior employees, which was everybody but me. And so it was literally a job of chiefs, and I was the only Indian. And so very quickly, it was like anything that I did was a problem, and anything that I didn't do was a problem, because they were all power tripping. And it came to a point where somewhere in like October, November, my shifts got cut down to 2 days a week. And I just was like, whatever. And I worked them for like 2 weeks. And then eventually I came in. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then one of the girls was like, "If you have any questions about your schedule, you have to call this number," and pointed to like a piece of paper or like a sticky note or something. And I was like, no, I don't need to do that. And then I went another week and then saw that it was 2 days again. And so finally I called this number, and come to find out it was the owner of the company. And he's like, "Hey, I've been hearing that you're not really doing your job responsibilities and this and that." And basically I had been bad-mouthed by the couple of girls that were doing the manager shit. And it all got brought up at once. And what it was I was doing my homework off to the side on shift when there was nobody in the store. But it was something that I had worked out with the manager that was there at first, because I didn't have a car at the time and I had no ability to take a lunch break. So I was like, "Hey, if I don't take any breaks, can I just do my homework off to the side once in a while if nobody's in the store?" "Yeah, no problem." And so I tried to tell that to that guy. He wasn't hearing it by then. I guess he had already pretty much decided I was a piece of shit. And so I was more or less forced to put in a 2 weeks notice. And then this fucking asshole didn't even let me finish my 2 weeks. I worked a week.
Oh.
Like right as I put in my notice, there was a manager that had gotten hired, and I had told him the whole story, and he was like, "Yeah, that sounds fucked up. That's stupid. You should definitely put in 2 weeks. You don't want to burn any bridges, but this doesn't sound like a place that you would want to be. That they're not treating you very well." He was really cool. And so I put in my 2 weeks. I worked a week, and then I was off the schedule. And I called him, and he's like, "Yeah, they're not going to let you do the full 2 weeks." And I'm like, "What the fucking petty ass bitch." If there's one thing that I enjoy about the fact that the rental video business went under, it's that cocksucker lost all of his money.
So quick, everybody's talking about this stream in question. Cecil and I talked about an hour, and we're discussing in code a person that's been bothering me. And everybody thought it was a much larger YouTuber that I still haven't spoken to since. And about the hour mark, or give or take, Dino pops in, and everybody's shocked that it was him and not somebody else. And it's Jerry Springer from there out. It's I don't know. I hate that's one of my more watched videos, but I get it. I get it.
And unfortunately, there was another party involved who, how do I say this without being a total dick, is a guy who is a very big supporter of a lot of us.
Yeah.
Who has his problems with alcohol, that got a lot of shit stirred up behind the scenes that apparently didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. So that was gasoline on a small fire that became an inferno. And yeah. Blake, what band were you expecting to be awesome live that didn't deliver, and what band were you not excited for that pleasantly surprised you? I'm lucky thus far that I have not really had a bad live experience thus far. There's not been a band that I've gone to see that I'm like, oh God. So I don't know if I can answer that one or not. I will say the first time that I saw Godsmack, and I think it was in 2007 or 2008, it was one of those 2 years. I was towards the end of my high school career. And I went to go see them, and the opening band was the most ridiculous fucking thing that I've ever seen. It was like a rockabilly band, like that hillbilly rock where they got the big ass bass and stuff. And dude, I'm not lying to you. It sounded like they played the same song for an hour.
Yeah.
Like they went through a set list, but it was the same beat, same speed, same tone. And there was even a spot in the show, like towards the end, where he goes, all right, well, we're going to slow it down a little bit, give you something a little bit more mellow. And you could kind of hear people snickering. And he kind of introduced the song that way. And then they were like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right back in the same beat. And we were like, what the fuck? And that was the worst opening band I've ever seen in my life. So I don't know if Godsmack controls that or not, if that was their fault, if it's just the local radio station.
Yeah, it could be a local band.
I have no idea, but that was the only like concert experience where I was like, this is ridiculous. This is bullshit. A band that I was not excited for that pleasantly surprised me. I went to go see Judas Priest after they reunited with Rob Halford in 2005. And their opening band was Queensryche. And I was not familiar with Queensryche. I went just for Priest. And Queensryche kicked fucking ass. And there was a lot of songs that I did not know the words to, and I was frustrated because I loved everything that I was hearing, and it's not the same because you can't really make out words sometimes live.
Yeah.
So but I immediately became a Queensryche fan.
Yeah, they're a good band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot attend live concerts, especially rock, since my spinal injury. But the last live venue I've been to was 1998, 99, where Limp Bizkit opened for the Deftones.
That's a tonal shift.
Yeah. And it kind of sounded like shit, and I'm not really into that moshing shit, and like the whole floor level was just shoving and shit. It's just
understand that.
Yeah,
my whole experience watching Papa Roach was almost ruined by that. Me and Holly, she had bought me for my birthday early access to where you get into the venue 30 minutes before everybody else, so you can get all the way up to the front. And we saw Seether and Papa Roach together. And Seether, it would get a little bit rough. And this was her first rock concert, too. So this was like a culture shock thing for her where people are fucking pushing. And we've only been together for, 3 or 4 months. So then I'm like scared that she's going to get knocked the fuck over. So I'm like paying attention to her the whole time instead of watching the show. I hate that fucking moshing shit.
Yeah.
And then Papa Roach comes out. And as dangerous as I thought the situation was, Papa Roach comes out and makes it 1,000 times worse. In the second song, he's like, I want to see the fucking pit going. Let me see it. Yeah. And I'm like, oh no. And as soon as that shit started, dude, within one song, we went from the front, like 4 rows of people, all the way to the back.
Yeah.
And so like I paid all this extra money, or she paid all this extra money to get up close, and we had to get to the back just so that we didn't get fucking killed.
Yeah, dude, people just fucking swing arms like they don't give a fuck what they're doing. And it's fucking ridiculous, man. Like we saw it pretty bad. My dad almost got into a fight at Rockville last year because that's all general admission. You just go to different stages and you get people like Rob Zombie playing, Dragula or whatever. And you see people starting to split into these circles, and you get these big ass dudes that are fucking running into people, and then you get the little guy that tries to join in, and he looks like he's going to get his neck broke. And Rockville last year, that was one that Lee was at, right?
Yeah.
And your dad almost got in a fight?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Good times. William Fox.
Inexplicably.
What was your guys' first concert? Mine was Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold, and Volbeat. That's a hell of a first concert. Mine was Alice Cooper in 2000, the Brutal Planet tour.
Alice in Chains opening for Van Halen.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was too young to appreciate just everything. Just everything.
You had to go because there was no babysitter.
Yeah, my mom was a big Van Halen fan, and I think I knew Man in the Box, and I was like, oh, cool. I'll listen to that song.
Yep.
And Van Halen's pretty good.
I like Van Halen. They're never been one of my favorites.
Yeah.
They're a band that I think couldn't be less relevant nowadays as far as their sound and everything. So
Yeah, it's weird. Like you talk about great bands that have lasted over the test of time, and Van Halen is just like, yeah, they made music. They they like the Rolling Stones have been around for The Who, Pink Floyd, stuff like that. And just Van Halen's just
they were a thing. Let's see. Alice Cooper, noise. Yep, saw him twice. I prefer David Lee Roth to Hagar. I prefer Hagar to David Lee Roth.
As do I. Oh, You Ate One Too is I think my favorite album of theirs.
What do you think are your top 5 favorite Stain songs?
Uh-oh.
That's hard to do off the cuff. I love Now off of their latest album. That's my favorite one off of that one. Definitely Outside and It's Been a While are kind of defaulted up there. They were there for you. That's so hard. I would have to. I shouldn't have even clicked on that. That's hard to do off the top of my head because I could do a top 30 Stain songs. That's how much of a fan I am of that.
Yeah. A lot of their first album. I wanna look into it. It won't even show me. There it is. There's a lot of songs on Dysfunction that I really enjoyed. I think the whole album is really good. Suffocate, Raw, I really kind of dug quite a bit. Fuck. Just Go. Shit. And there's a lot there, and then Break the Cycle. For You,
great song.
For You, I would say.
Oh yeah, For You.
It's been a while. I think I'd put on there too, and like that. I would put those two. Stained is like Pearl Jam for me for some reason, where I like the early stuff and then just never really kind of rolled into the newer stuff for some reason.
Gotcha. Devin Lott, thoughts on Rush, Detroit boy, Alice Cooper, what?
Huh?
Don't know. I think maybe it's a question, thoughts on Rush, and then he's saying I'm a Detroit boy like Alice Cooper. Thoughts on Rush? I know a couple of their songs. It's not really my kind of music. It's a bit eccentric, but I like kind of the ones that everybody knows, I guess, the 2 or 3 that they play on the radio. Yeah, that's about as far as my Rush knowledge goes.
Yeah, I'm if you buy me a greatest hits album of Rush, I'm okay with it. I don't have problems with it, but I don't know deep cuts or anything.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a deep cut guy.
Yeah.
I appreciate all the references, and it's I love you, man, though.
Slap at the beast.
Yeah. You guys get to see Never Hike in the Snow early. I don't know if we will or not, but as of now, no, we have not. I don't know. I would think that Vince probably would want us to have a review ready in the gun, but I'm not going
to. I would say Cody definitely more than me. Cody's got a bigger audience. Vince has told me stuff where I've been like, no, let me like he's tried to tell me elements of the story, and I was like, it just, let me experience it. I wouldn't imagine. I mean, if a certain different YouTuber sees that movie before I do, I might spit fire. But I think we would, even if it were like 2 or 3 days early. I think Vince is going to let us, if only for review purposes.
Exactly. So yeah, good chances, I think, but I'm not going to ask, and I'm not going to throw a fit one way or the other.
Yeah, not expect it one way. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. Who is the greatest frontman in your opinion? Can we just do like top 5 in no random, in no particular order? Lane Staley, James Hetfield, Corey Taylor, Aaron Lewis, and Miles Kennedy.
I want some boundaries, some rules. What makes a great frontman?
It depends on you, I guess. You have showmanship and you have vocal talent.
Freddie Mercury's got to be a
guitar. Oh yeah, Freddie Mercury definitely in there.
Who? Yeah, Allison Chain. Lane Staley is definitely up there for me. Fuck. You know what? I'm not the greatest Aerosmith fan, but Steven Tyler, he's a front man. He's something to behold. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't. You can't spring these like fucking decade spanning questions on me and expect me to narrow it down. This is why we need like themed episodes, because then I could do a little homework, have a little
that goes against the brand of Dead Air. We can't have a plan. It's gonna be like, I don't know. Yeah, Freddie Mercury in there for sure. There's a lot of great frontmen that are just good showmen. There's a lot of great frontmen that are just incredible singers. You have a select few that have both. Freddie Mercury would be one that has both. That's where you get that debate between David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar, because you have showmanship on one hand and you have vocal talent on the other.
Right.
Let's see 2 or 3 more. We'll try to end this clean at about 2 hours.
Okay.
Dank Bloop, we talked about that a little earlier. You can scroll back. We had a whole 15-20 minutes talking about it. Let me see. Is it me, or does the Disturbed guy get too much hate? I'm assuming you mean David Draymond, the singer. I don't know if I've never known him to be hated on.
Yeah.
I'll say this about Disturbed. I was a Disturbed fanatic back in high school, back around when they had 10,000 Fists come out. 10,000 Fists, and then was it Indestructible? I thought were both pretty badass albums. Disturbed is the same exact problem, even more so, that Seven Dust has, is that they have such a distinct sound that literally all their shit sounds the same now.
Dude, I love Seven Dust. I love Disturbed. Have you seen the video, Disturbed's Greatest Hit?
No.
All right, I'll send it to you. It's a 2-minute video that like it nails Disturbed. It's fucking hysterical. And I won't spoil the joke, but it is hysterical. You nailed it right on the head. Disturbed is very samey. And I still kind of like it. So whatever.
See, that's me. Really? I loved, you had Down with the Sickness, which was very much like this new thing. It was like, holy shit, who are them? Then you had Believe, which was very much more mainstream. And then you had 10,000 Fists that was kind of like the perfect middle between those two roads. And same with Indestructible. Asylum came out, and that was the first album where I felt like, oh, this is not the best. And then they went on hiatus for like, 4 years or something like that. And then you had the one that came out with the Simon and Garfunkel song. And now that's the big thing that everybody plays.
That's the only thing people know.
Yeah, so that album was pretty good. It was mostly a return to form. And then you had their album come after that that's called, ironically enough, Evolution. That is just more Disturbed shit. And I don't really like that album at all. I've listened to it and I'm like, there's nothing that stands out about this. Every song on here, there's a song that sounds similar to it that's better on their first 4 albums.
I can't believe I forgot about Believe. Believe is such a departure for them.
Oh yeah, exactly. And it's to the point where even David Draymond kind of cut off and did this thing called Device for one album. That was him. It was the guitarist for some band, and it was more of like an electronic rock thing, but it sounded like Disturbed. It was the writing was like Disturbed, the fucking song titles like Vilify, straight out of Disturbed. I really loved he did a cover of Close My Eyes Forever, the song that Ozzy did with Lita Ford.
Yeah.
He did a cover of that with Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm that's really good. That was the only song on that album that stood out to me. The rest of it just sounded like he went off and did a side project while Disturbed was getting their shit together and just made more Disturbed music. So it's just, that's the only thing that I will say that I could understand if he gets hate for is that. But I've seen them live. They're really good live. I love their older stuff, but yeah, they're in a bit of a hole for me that I don't know if they're going to get out of. I did see one that we can talk about for a minute. Dale, weren't you guys thinking of doing a director's 31 on the 31st with Nolan and Tarantino? We do have plans to possibly do one like that at the end of the year if we have time and energy left. We've done a lot of 31 on 31s this year. I know CP more than any of us.
Energy.
CP more than any of us is kind of like like kind of gasping for air. But we do have, if all goes well, we'll have something along those lines coming out in December.
Although the one that we're kind of balancing, that will be a lot easier because the issue with me is like the editing and doing all the fucking sparkles and making it look cute, and then the binging. I don't think it's fair to the movies when I binge fucking 8 Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies in a row.
It's not, because any series that you binge like quickly in succession always ends up being the one you hate on whatever 31 we're doing.
Yeah. And I'm like,
fucking saxophone. And I'm like, oh, you missed them.
Yeah, I need a little room. That's why I watch Critters. Give a little space. We'll go to Critters 2 for a little bit.
Go play some video games. Devin Lott. We'll end on this one. Dio fans, anyone. I am not totally well versed in his catalog. I definitely know some of his bigger hits, but he's definitely a metal god. I mean, the guy's got an awesome voice. He was in his own band. He was in Black Sabbath for a while too. So yeah, he's up there. He's just one of those classic kind of metal bands that I haven't taken the time to explore too much. My dad's a Dio fanatic.
Yeah, how are you on 80s metal?
Love it.
Yeah, you might want to give Dio a listen. He's got some real like Rainbow in the Dark.
I love Rainbow in the Dark. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I know some of his stuff. I could probably name 5 or 6 of his songs. I just don't know like whole albums and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Dio is no joke.
Absolutely. Let's see. Maybe there's one that's a better ending question. Do you watch Better Call Saul?
No, I'm waiting for it to be complete so that I can binge it.
Okay, we won't answer that one then, because then it'll be just me talking. Let's see.
Thank you, JK Rants and Reviews.
Huh?
JK Rants and Reviews says, I love your 31 and 31. Thanks for all your hard work.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. This is where it gets tough. You try to find that good topic to like close things out on, and you're like, this is where the title comes in. Oh, there we go. Blake's got a super chat, so we'll end on this regardless. PSA, check out Candlemass's self-titled album from 2005 if you like classic metal. It's that, but heavy guitars. It's glorious.
Candlemass, all right. I'll write it down. Blake, are you getting the Deftones vinyl? They have a couple of vinyls They have like a special one, a regular one, a couple. Like they have a couple of ways they're presenting their new album that I'm very envious of, all the fucking ways they're doing that shit. So strange how vinyl is now the physical media that people jump towards. So
I know, nostalgia is a powerful thing. I'm interested in this answer from you. We'll say video, not necessarily review, but your favorite video that you've done.
Man, before I got divorced in 2015, late 2015, there was a period at the end where I really started thinking that I was getting better. For the most part, in 2020, I've been quite proud of myself, and the premise of 1999. I really, really dig that premise, and it bothers me. It's a shame that I'm proud of, videos that don't really get attention, and that 99 series is something that just kind of sticks in my craw, because I think it's neat. And with the right people taking part and stuff, it could be something good. Like I've never like stepped away and said, I'm proud of this. This is good. Like I always try to say, this needs work. It's better to keep yourself, trying to outdo yourself. And the 1999 series on my channel, I'm quite proud of. And then there's the Who Would Like That videos, where I'll talk about Salo for 20 minutes and everybody loves those. So what the fuck do I know?
Yourself. You're the orchestrator of your own chaos. I don't know. For me, as far as reviews go, I was really proud of all the work that I put into the Halloween review series, just because I thought it was a really cool little story that I was telling in those intros, despite some of the details of that being a little bit like sandpaper now. And especially the way that all of my hard work was rewarded with 3 months of hate from Halloween 2018 fanatics. But I was proud of all the work that went into that one. I lost a lot of sleep that 2 weeks trying to get those out. I'm really proud of Pitch Wars, the 2 episodes that I did. One with Durbin.
A good idea. That was really good.
It was a cool idea. I put a lot of production into it. I really like doing that, kind of taking something and making a script and telling my own stories. I'm going to try to bring that back at some point, either by the end of this year or early next year. Me and Durbin have already talked about doing kind of the reboot episode, so that'll hopefully come at some point. But that one I thought that's kind of like 1999 for you, to where I was so passionate about it and I believed in it so much, and then it just got shit for views. And so it stung, where I was kind of like, damn, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, you try not to be arrogant. You really try not to. You have to have some sort of ego. You have to have some sort of confidence to do this. And there's these moments where you're like, I know this is good. What's the problem? And like the way you have this now, I would imagine Pitch Wars could be a hell of a lot easier in this format, like you're doing it right here, because it's similar, and plus you can highlight the person as they like. There's potential. There's Pitch Wars could be a lot easier done like this, as long as you do the whatever visual aids you need for that. Before.
That's the only tough part, is I really liked putting on the visual aids. Like when I was doing my Batman script and I had my fan casting would kind of scroll through, or I would have like a timer come up whenever a bomb. Like I was trying to make it cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that in this format. It would probably be easier digestible though, to have a live audience that's kind of talking about the scripts as we go along and do a vote at the end or whatever. So I'm playing with the idea. idea.
Yeah, you can keep the audience interactive throughout the whole thing too, and like do rounds. Like, all right, that was round one. What do you guys vote for that? And whoever 3 or 5 rounds, whoever has more at the end of the rounds is the winner or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
it is a good idea. I agree with you. It's really neat.
I had a lot of fun with it. It was just cool because I really like writing ideas, but it was so much time that went into it because just the time. If you watch those 2 episodes, I go really in depth. I basically write out the entire story of the movie, so that takes hours. And then you have the filming of it, and then you have the editing of it, and all the bells and whistles. So, I mean, that was a video that just it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and I think 250 views is where it topped out at or something like that, which didn't sting as bad back then because it wasn't like, I was rolling in 10,000 views or something like that. But even at the time, it was like, well, fuck. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, if you like it, share it. Please just share it. Maybe somebody will see something. We have feelings too,
That's what I put out, and we'll end on this note because it brings us full circle. That's what I put out for my info whenever I dropped my Ratchet Season 1 review. I was like, I missed the PS5 pre-order while I was editing this video, so fucking watch it. And on that note, we'll wrap up the first episode of Dead Air. So, CP.
Wait. I'm sorry. What's your favorite cold open
that I've done?
Yeah. No, that Lee has done.
Now I can't think.
Probably you in it anyway.
I really enjoyed the one that I just did for Inception. I've had that one in my head for a couple of years. I got that as a Patreon request back when I first started Patreon. And a lot of times these cold opens, they come to me one of 3 ways. They either are some joke that I already thought of before I even did YouTube. And I finally do the review and I'm like, oh, I got to do that joke. Or it's in the middle of the movie and something just clicks like a light bulb when I'm watching it in theaters. Or I'm standing there and I'm like, fuck, I got to do a cold open. Yeah, that's good. I'll do that. And Inception was one where for like 2 or 3 years, I knew exactly how that intro was going to play out. And it's fun making that come to life. So that one was really fun. I really liked the one that I did for my first Child's Play review where I had Riley when she was a baby in my closet. And I kind of made like a mini horror movie where Chucky, my Funko Pop, had escaped. That was kind of fun. All of the Halloween ones were fun because that was the first time that I tried to put like some writing into it and do like a free-flowing narrative. Scream 2 is a really funny one where I kind of came up with that last second where it was me and I have me and my Ghostface costume come in to try to kill me. And I keep shooting him, but he won't die, and he keeps coming back. So then I end the thing, and I'm just beating the shit out of myself on the ground. So that one's really funny. Psycho 2 is a funny one, too, because I have a little jump scare where I'm in the dress behind me. And
I remember that, yeah.
And the Friday the 13th remake is another one where I had a jump scare that scared the fuck out of a lot of people, apparently, because when I posted that review, like the first 2 days, every other comment was like, fuck, that got me. So that was fun. I've done a lot of them that I look back on. I just kind of laugh, and I'll watch the opening and fuck up my own watch time, and then not watch the rest of the video.
Fucking algorithm, son of a bitch.
Yeah, this guy really doesn't like his own videos. Oh man, but yeah, we'll end on that one. So CP, what do we got coming out of the Willis Greedia pipe?
Oh fuck! I'm currently editing. And this has been a cross. So there's a pile of 4 Who Would Like That reviews coming. And I'm finally moving forward on Dogtooth, which is probably the least offensive of anything I've done on Who Would Like That. It's from the direct.
That coming for cuties?
I might do that, actually. So I've heard that 2 or 3 times where they said, do cuties. I'm like, okay. How bad could it be? But yeah, Dogtooth is about a family that is locked in a house, and the kids aren't allowed to leave. The father leaves them locked in, and they're not allowed to leave until their dog tooth comes out. Which if you're an adult, your dog teeth don't come out. So you would imagine what length somebody does to get rid of one of their dog teeth. But it's a really weird, out there movie. Director of Lobster and The Favorite, which recently came out. Lots of sex, lots of nudity, brother sister stuff. It's family film.
Right up your alley. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just going with the flow right now. I've got I just dropped Cobra Kai season 2 a couple of hours ago. I've got my Karate Kid ranking filmed, so I'll drop that Sunday possibly. I didn't have time to do reviews for all of them, but I just figured a ranking would be fun. So we got that. We got 31 on 31 coming up, so I'm going to have to start doing some of those reviews. Obviously, I have to get through the rest of my Romero series at some point. Saw at this point is just going to be stretched out over the next few months. I'm not in any hurry to get back to Saw. And starting the Dexter reviews once October hits. If this house goes through, I'm going to be moving. So content might be slow the later half of October unless I get a lot of work done ahead of time, which is my plan. But yeah, that's kind of plans to make plans on my end.
Dexter, you doing per episode or per season?
Season. Per episode. Holy shit. No. I got no energy for that. Yeah, we're going to do so 8 seasons, so all 4 weeks of October and then carry over into November. We were going to do them all in October, but Lindsay would have hell trying to get all of those done. So I was like, okay, we'll do it over 2 months.
The October ones are the only ones that matter.
Yeah, exactly. So with that note, everybody, thank you for watching this. We'll check you out next time on either Dead Air or Autop Stream if we can get lined up with Brian's schedule again here soon. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.